it was a dark year because of that. Because of my heart was just like, I don't care. I don't care about anybody. I don't care about God. I'm just going to do what I want when I want to do it because I'm entitled to that, because I was just really hurt, which is was just the biggest load of bull crap anybody could tell themselves. So yeah, I mean, that was the stripping away of my identity that I'd kind of built up for 22 years.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the What's Your Life Journey podcast. My name is Kira Miller, and today's guest is Emily Weisband, who is a singer-songwriter, and she's going to share with us her story today. We can't wait to hear it. So, talk about how when you were growing up, you grew up in a Christian household, and talk about how your identity has been just completely redefined after a long time. So I guess from day one, who would you say that Emily Weisband was?
No, so my dad was an atheist until a few years before I was born. And I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I have an older sister who's one of my half sisters, but I grew up the oldest of 5. And we were raised in a really relationship with Jesus house. It wasn't a religious house. And I think that's because my dad was a God hater. And so he always said it wasn't religion that changed him. It wasn't going to church every Sunday and following all the rules and, locking up his wild spirit in a cage that, transformed his heart. It was a relationship with Jesus that, that kind of completely changed his life. So I was raised in a very, you were allowed to cuss, but only at home in front of mom and dad. They just demystified everything. We talked openly about sex. We talked openly about alcohol, the world, just there. And that's probably why I am the way I am, in the sense of I have 0 secrets, absolutely none. Yeah. I'm good at keeping other people's secrets, but when it comes to mine, I have none.
That's incredible.
Genuinely.
Yeah. Well, and I think
I'll tell somebody the deepest thing about me.
You have no shame, right?
No, I really don't struggle with shame.
That's so freaking nice.
Even in the times where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of ashamed about that. I mean, it's out in the open and squashed pretty quickly. And that's just definitely something that's been learned for me. I've had to kind of teach myself to be that open and be that willing. And I guess it's part of my story we'll talk about later. But I was just the oldest of 5 kids. I think I told you at one point, my first boyfriend was my whole family's first boyfriend. And my first heartbreak was my whole family's first heartbreak. And I was kind of the family guinea pig in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
So, I just don't have any secrets. And, but I also am a people pleaser and a peacemaker. And I really wanted to please my parents. And I wanted to set a good example for my younger siblings, and because I was being watched, I didn't like to mess up. I'm kind of a perfectionist, OCD sometimes, in weird ways, though, not in the typical ways that some people would be OCD. But so I was a rule follower, 100%, and one of the biggest things that we talked about growing up was sex. And so boyfriends, not really a thing. I kind of had a hard time, I don't know, I guess with intimacy in general. Probably spilled over into emotional intimacy in some ways. Now I'm I still now, I could tell somebody my deepest secret, but telling somebody I have, heart feelings for them is,
oh, interesting,
almost impossible for me.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the worst thing I ever did, to a stranger, but telling somebody my heart feels for you.
Wait, that's hilarious.
I can't even say it to you.
My friends and I were talking about that the other day, how the different types of personalities that we have are mine. I can talk all day about my feelings, but I can't talk about something I did in the past and how I feel.
Total
about
opposite.
It, if that makes sense. And then a lot of other people were saying, oh, really? Because I can totally talk about something I did in the past, but I can't share my current feelings
for someone to their face.
Exactly.
I could talk all day to a stranger about it. But if I was
that's
sitting in front of them and I had to say, this is how I feel about you, I go, oh,
Really?
Yeah, totally do.
Interesting.
But all that to say, I just did not have sex.
Yeah.
Like, I did not have sex. I didn't I remember this boy touched my boob one time and I thought I was going to hell. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, like,
Yeah.
I just did not do it because growing up, it was just like, don't have sex before you're married. Sex is awesome. Sex is fun. Sex is great, but don't do it before you're married. Don't do it before you're married. And so I was like, okay. Nope. I was rude to somebody today, but I didn't have sex. So I'm still a Christian.
Right.
Like, I'm still pleasing. I can call my dad and say, yeah, Dad, I didn't have sex today. You know what I mean? And my parents were I never felt condemned. My parents were very open with us about their flaws and their shortcomings and open with us about sex being an awesome, beautiful thing. But it was just the kind of thing where they said, it's best when it's in marriage, so don't do it before you're married. And so I kind of, honestly, I identified myself as a virgin. And yeah, that's where a lot of my identity came from, was my virginity.
Who would you say, or no, how do you feel like this identity of being a virgin played out throughout your entire life at that point? Like, how did it impact the other parts of your life? Do you think it did? Or even just being defined as a certain thing, how did that play into everything else in your life?
I think it was an overall, what does being a Christian look like? And I think especially when I moved out of the house, I went home. I went to Nashville and, okay, well, I'm out of the house. I got to keep this Christian thing up. So, and honestly, I was a big ass tease. Like, I just was.
Yeah.
Like, I really was. Like, I'd give you the sex eyes and I was very sexually frustrated, to be real, because I just, it was the forbidden fruit in a lot of ways. And so I feel like I probably hurt people being that way, honestly, and probably forged a reputation for myself that maybe is not authentic to me necessarily, because it was just, I was just a very, I wasn't a cut and dry person. I was a rationalizer and I wasn't a heart person. I was an action person.
Oh, gotcha.
I was I made that person feel that way, but at least I'm still probably made them feel like total crap, but at least technically I'm still a virgin. So whatever, who cares? I'm still good with God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I probably made some dudes feel like total crap.
Yeah.
Or probably made people in general feel like, I was not a heart person. I was an action person.
Yeah.
I was rude to that person, but my head's going on my pillow tonight and I'm still a virgin and I didn't do that and I didn't do that. So
you're still
me
good.
And God are good. You know what I mean? And then, I got involved in a women's ministry in college, and I was a leader in that for a couple of years. So that probably played into it too, trying to be the ideal leader of this women's ministry and get up at 8 a.m. every morning and wear my church t-shirt and my do calligraphy in the margins of my Daughters of the King journal. And,
yeah, right.
But it was just I don't know. I just found myself, I could feel this wild, free spirit in me that I constantly felt like I was locking away to be pleasing to my Christian friends or my parents when I called them or to God, So it definitely I don't know. It was an identity issue for sure. And then I signed my publishing deal my sophomore year of college, and I started meeting people outside of this Christian bubble I had kind of put myself in. And a lot of them loved Jesus, but they totally had sex. And they totally hung out in bars every night of the week. And they were fun to be around. I related to those people. I wanted to be those people. They were cool. And I laughed with those people, and I felt free with those people. And so I don't know, I'd go into that and try to be that, and then I'd go back to Delight, the women's ministry, and try to be one of those girls, and then I'd call Dad and go, yeah, Dad, I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing that. And my dad never treated me in a way. No, my
Yeah.
dad, I mean, it was not, okay, what'd you do this? It was not that. It was just my human, like, I wanted to be pleasing.
Gotcha.
I wanted to be
win
enough.
approval. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted the approval. And so I just try to cross all my T's, dot all my I's, like, do the whole thing. But then before I know it, I'm like being that person over there and that person over there. And my sister thinks this, so I'm going to stop doing that. And when I call my dad, I want to be able to tell him that I did this and said that. So he'll think I'm all good. And before I know it, I'm just kind of like a different person everywhere I am. And, but the one thing that kept me grounded amongst all of it was I'm still a virgin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you have like accountability partners during that, or not really? Like
accountability. I mean, I have some amazing friends. One of my best friends in the world. I met her when I first moved to Nashville, but you know, we were growing together. Yeah. It was. She runs that ministry actually, and it's an incredible ministry. It's like has helped so many girls find like Christian community in college. And I could not be more proud of her for, you know, kind of taking it by the reins, and she just let God blow it into this huge thing that it was not when it started. And so, but she was a pastor's kid. Like she was figuring it out too. We were all, I definitely had accountability partners. But I think that it's funny because the way that it looked is not, they're still my best friends. They're still my accountability people, but it just looks differently now because we've all grown up a little bit. And I think we all kind of came to the same realization together. That God made me who I am for a reason, and he made her who she is for a reason. And we're not the same. We're not going to look the same. And at the end of the day, it's about what's in your heart, not what you do or say. So yeah, I mean, I think that over the years we gave each other the freedom to be ourselves because we realized together through years and years of trial and error and really getting it wrong.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah, we learned that I learned that I need to let her be who she is and she needs to let me be who I am.
Yep.
And the one thing we have in common that all believers have in common is that Jesus is in there, and it is about what's in our hearts. And so I don't know, it was cool to learn how to love Jesus and be myself, like who I really am. Like that was a cool process, and it does not look the same for any person, for any two people. And so my accountability, it went from, are you doing this? Are you doing that? And now it's, you are this person. Are you being authentic to yourself? That. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's just, it looks different now. But yeah, I mean, I definitely had accountability people. It was just like, you know, we're just all figuring it out together. And I had to figure out like, what does being Emily really mean? And what does loving Jesus being Emily? Like, what does that really mean?
Yeah. So when do you feel like was the time that this all kind of became redefined for you? Talk about that. And I guess, did it take a heartbreak to really figure out that was not your actual identity?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Usually it starts with pain, right?
I know. Yeah, it always does. Yeah, I don't know. I was always chasing boys, like always, you know. I think all of us, we just want to be fully known and fully loved and, you know, just, yeah. And so I was just always chasing things, trying to like figure myself out. And I was chasing boys. I'm boy crazy. I'm so freaking boy crazy. It's unreal. And I love being in love. I'm like a helpless romantic. I'm just like, let's go. Yeah. But also like super afraid of commitment at the same time. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It's you're
boy crazy. That's why.
Yeah, I'm like super boy crazy.
Right.
No, but I met a guy. And this story is not really about him as much as the time of my life that I happened upon him in. Yeah. But yeah, I have nothing bad to say about him. We're just very different. And I met him and I just was like about him, you know. I was very affected by him, and it just felt like real and emotional for me, and just like, wow, what is this? And I felt like a 10-year-old kid, like obsessed kid again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was 22 and, you know, we're just different. He was like into sex and I was like total tease, but also not actually going to do it because that means I'm not being a good Christian if I actually do it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just like, I mean, it would define it. If he talked to me one day, I was like, it would totally change my mood. If I didn't hear from him one day, I hated myself. I saw like, and it's, again, it's not him. It was just like the time of life I was in, he happened upon me or I happened upon him in a time where I just was like, everything around me was defining how I felt about things or what I thought about things. Because I am a peacemaker and I am a people pleaser and I wanted like my life to feel like
Do you feel
cohesive and
Do you feel good when other people are happy too?
I do. I love good vibes. Love good vibes.
Who doesn't?
You know, it's funny. The older I get, though, the more I like stirring the pot a little bit.
Yes.
But definitely at the time, I was like, okay, I want to be accepted here. I want to be. I want to connect. So I just would tweak myself like into every situation so that I would be, whatever in that situation. And but anyway, I don't know. He just was like. It just didn't work out between the two of us, and I was really, really upset. I was really tore up about it, and so I tried to like win him back by like being really sexual with him, honestly, and just being like, "Well, I would do that," and I would, like
this time not being a tease.
It was like teasy, but I think deep down I was like, I'm like really in it. Like went into rationalization mode. Gotcha. Like, okay, well, is it really that bad? Like, I care about this person, And long story short, I have sex with him, and it just again it didn't work out. The next day, it was like, hey, this is not a thing, And I just remember going to bed that night thinking, oh shit. I can't go to bed tonight and think I'm still a virgin. Like, you know what I mean?
You're holding on to.
I did this today. I did that today. I said that to that person. Probably shouldn't have done that. Blah, 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 blah. Well, at least no, I'm not. It was like a moment for me where I thought, holy crap, everything I thought I believed for 22 years, maybe I don't. Like everything that I've been leaning on everything that defined my faith for the last 22 years. I can't, what do I tell my parents? What do I tell my friends? Oh my God, they're going to be so disappointed in me. What am I going to do? Right. And I went crazy, dude. Like I really did. I thought, well, 0 to 100, God hates me. And I just, it was a dark year. And again, I don't think it was a dark year because of my actions, as much as it was a dark year because of the apathy behind them. I went to this place of like, well, I guess I'm not who I thought I was, and F it, life's hard and unfair, and, so whatever, like, F off world, like, blah, blah, blah. And I mistreated everyone in my life. I mean, the next year it was just like, and it was malicious, honestly. I was going to say it wasn't malicious, but it kind of was. I was kind of ruthlessly, like, awful. Like, oh, that hurt you? I don't care. I'll hurt you more.
Really?
Like, oh, well, you know what? Blah. I mean, everybody in my life. My family, I was the worst sister. I was the worst friend. I was just like the worst hang. Like, honestly, I just, and I blamed it the whole time. I'm like, well, this guy did this to me. And blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't do anything to me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's 100% my choice. Like, somebody says, hey, that stove's hot over there. Don't touch it. And you go,
it's hard,
I'm going to touch it. And then you can't get mad at the stove for being hot. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a stove. It gets hot. It's like, whatever. And so, I definitely went into that period of time. And, it was a dark year because of that, because of my heart was just like, I don't care. I don't care about anybody. I don't care about God. I'm just going to do what I want when I want to do it because I'm entitled to that, because I was just really hurt, which is was just the biggest load of bull crap
Yeah.
anybody could tell themselves. So yeah, I mean, that was the stripping away of my identity that I'd kind of built up for 22 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I gotta say, like, my family and my friends, they loved me through that time. It was not, I abandoned everybody and everything in that time of my life, but they did not abandon me.
Did you feel like you ended up alone because of your own choices? Not like your family 100%. And stuff, but
no,
yeah.
My dad loved me better than ever. My sisters loved me better than ever. My friends loved me better than ever. And I just constantly, like, mistreated them back.
So you pushed them away.
Yeah, I mean, and not even, like, I hate you, get away from me, but just, like, I wasn't treating them well.
Absolutely.
You know, I was, like...
You couldn't treat yourself well.
Yeah, like, I wasn't treating myself. I wasn't treating anybody. It was just, like, very careless and ruthlessly careless. But, yeah, I mean, they loved me hard. My parents, they loved me hard. They didn't, you know, they met me where I was, and they just, you know. Yeah. But I could see that I was, like, hurting them, like... Yeah, I could see that. It wasn't. It's not a spiritual thing. It's a consequences thing. It's like it's a human thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's, that was kind of the stripping away. That I felt like that was God being like, you know what? I'm gonna let you do life without me. I'm not worried here. You know, because I look at you and I see you sitting right here across from me right now in your t-shirt and your brown hair, and I know the conversations that we've had today, but I don't know every minute leading up to this moment, and I don't know every minute that's going to come after. So I just see you and I see this, but God does see every minute leading up to here and every minute that comes after here, you know? So my family and my friends, and they're all worried about me, but he's not, you know what I mean? Because he knows, like, well, it's cool, you know? I could not have an authentic relationship with God until I went through this. And I don't think God says, I'm going to, like, do this bad stuff. That's not God. But I do think he said, you know what? I'm going to allow you to do what you think is best for you. Yeah. I'm going to allow you to do it. You know what I mean? Because you've been told your whole life that you need me. And that's cute. Because you've been following it because they've told you to. But you need to find it for yourself. I know, Emily, I know your mind. Emily, I know your heart. And you need to understand why you need me. And until you understand why, you're not going to be able to move forward in a relationship with me with the passion that I want you to, you know? Because I'm a passion person, and I'm not a passion person because somebody tells me to be passionate about something, and I am. None of us are that way. Right. You know what I mean? But when we understand something and we believe in something, we're, like, forced to be reckoned with, you know what I mean? And I think God knows me well enough, Jesus knows me well enough to have been like, this girl needs to understand why she needs to know herself without me, because she's known me her whole life. I love that, yeah. She needs to know who she is without me so that she won't not want to be with me. Right. And it's not because I made her. It's because she chooses to be the girl that she is with me, not the girl that she is without me. And what that actually looks like. Yeah. Not has sex, doesn't have sex, drinks alcohol, doesn't drink alcohol, says the F-bomb, doesn't say the F-bomb. Yeah. But, like, the girl whose heart is actually in love with who I am and is okay with not being enough. You know what I mean? That's what it's supposed to be anyway. Exactly. Yeah. And so that was the process for me where it got dark. Yeah. I could tell you stories, like, and I would, but, like, you know, tact. Right. You know? Yep. But it got dark. I mean, and I really remember waking up one morning and just being over it, you know, and not over, just over the feeling of, like, waking up on a Saturday and having 4 texts from numbers I don't recognize saying, like, where'd you go? I thought we were going to do it. Da, da, da. You know, like, who are these people that I was talking, you know, I was over, like, making out with 3 dudes in one night and ending up at one's house for the 6th night in a row, just using him very openly and, like, you know what I mean? I was over waking up Saturday morning and having to slide into my sister's bed who's pissed at me because she had to pull me out of a stranger's Uber the night before, you know what I mean? And her fun night turned into making sure I was getting home okay, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, just over all those things.
So you finally saw it hurting you and other people?
Yeah. I just think I woke up one morning and something just snapped to me and I thought, I'm over it.
It's crazy how it doesn't always take like a tragedy or something to realize
No.
it can literally just be like
just wore on me to the point where I thought, I'm over it and I don't have to be doing this to myself. I actually had a dream is what happened.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I totally forgot to tell you this actually, but I was thinking about it the other day. I had this dream one night and I don't have dreams often. I'm not like a spiritual dream. Like that's not really my thing. Right. I've had maybe 2 or 3 my entire life where I woke up and thought, ooh, I got to pay attention to that.
Interesting.
But this one was during this time and my sister and I are in a car and we're in a car in the middle of the forest. And there we're just surrounded by trees. It was like a clearing in the forest big enough for our car to be in. And we're just surrounded by trees everywhere. Like you could not drive out of this forest. Okay. It was like you're stuck in this forest. Yeah. And I remember my sister and I are locked in the car and we're freaking out. I'm like, how are we going to get out of here? We're going to die here. There's no way to drive this car out of this forest. Like, we're freaking out. And I remember in the dream, I'm like, I take out like a plastic knife that I found and I'm like cutting open. I'm like, well, what are we going to eat? What are we going to do? And my sister's eating lipstick. Like she's taking, I know this sounds so weird. We're like in survival mode. She's like taking out her makeup. We're eating makeup. I'm like ripping into the seat cushions I'm ripping into the seat cushions in the car, like pulling out the stuffing and I'm eating it. And I'm just like, I just remember us freaking out and it's just like crazy. And my sister goes, wait, Em, stop, look up. And I look up and we're sitting in an open parking lot and I could have like driven away at any point in time. Huh. But because I was so like, oh no, how am I going to get out of here? I wasn't looking up at like my surroundings. I was like just trying to figure out how to like survive and fill myself with like, I'm eating makeup in this dream. Ew, that is disgusting.
That's
like,
hilarious.
I'm eating cushions. Cushion stuffing from my car's, you know what I mean? And I just remember waking up after that dream and thinking, I don't have to be doing this to myself. Like, I can drive away at any point. Yeah. I can leave anytime. I'm just eating lipstick. Every night I'm going out. And you know, telling half the place I'm going to do them later. Like, I'm just eating makeup and doing nothing for myself, filling myself with like disgusting, weird stuff. And I can leave whenever because that's only my own panic and it's only my own, you know, lack of belief in this that is causing me to do that. And so, I woke up the next morning, like wrote a song about it with some of my friends and I vocalized it and I never had another night like that again. Yeah. I love making out. I've definitely had nights where I've made out with people, but I'm just saying, like, I never had another ruthlessly in my heart, careless night like that. Right. And the times that I have, I go, like, no, that's not you. You know what I mean? And I mean, from there, it was just like, you know, God started, it was a slow process. It wasn't like a moment of like, oh my God, God is da-da-da. Because
it's still a slow process.
Of course, every day it's a process, but it's just been this like, the last couple years of my life have been just God showing me who he really is. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's just a whole nother story of what that all looks like. But, you know, showing me that he cares about my heart, you know, that I was not made to be enough. Yeah. I wasn't made to be that way. There's a verse in Matthew that I love where the disciple, Jesus basically tells the disciples that everybody deserves to go to hell. And they all look at him and they go, what? Like, well, then how can anybody be saved? And Jesus says, well, humanly speaking, it's impossible. But with God, anything is possible. And I love that because I read that and I realized, like, I was not made to be enough. Yeah. Humanly speaking, this is impossible. And I need to be okay with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? The perfectionist, the rule follower in me, like, needs to be okay with that. Yeah. And so, it's just been this daily, like, coming to terms with my own humanity. Yeah, you're a horny freak. Yeah. Yes, that is part of you. You know what I mean? Yes, you feel this way, you do these things, you blah, blah, like this is who you are, you know what I mean? And just, I don't know, just coming to terms with all that and him being like, but I am this. You know what I mean?
So your
and like,
identity is now him, you think?
100%.
Yep.
My identity is that like I'm a chosen person. Yep. I'm a loved person. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't say that in an overly Christian way. I say that in my wild spirit, like my passion, my intensity, my like, God made me to be all of those things. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when they're misdirected, he makes all of us like, it's so funny. You meet people who are like, well, I'm to this or I'm to that. I'm like, no, you are that.
Yeah, for a reason.
You're that. God made you to be that, you know? But it's just crazy when he directs it, like how powerful that can be. Like when my intensity and my passion is directed in a life-giving way, not in an air-sucking way. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's just crazy. I definitely, as a songwriter, like I was telling you out there, like I have no interest in standing on a stage and saying like, God is good. You all need to get it together because blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like I have zero interest in that. There are people in this world who are made to do that and say that to people. You know what I mean? But I really feel like through this whole thing of me discovering who Emily is this, Emily is that. But above all of that, like Emily is chosen by God. Yes. Emily is loved by God. Emily has a connection with God that nobody else has. Not because it's better or worse, but because it's different. It's unique to Emily. And at the end of the day, that's who I am. And I am okay with my personality. I am okay with the kind of people I naturally connect with. I'm okay with the way that I talk. I'm okay with the way that I whatever. And all I can do is daily connect with God so that that's all being directed in a life-giving way. But for me to think that me trying to control that myself is enough, it's just not. It wasn't made to be.
Well, and I think, too, the closer you get to him, I mean, the more you're going to know if what you're doing is actually truly life-giving or if it's
100%.
Taking away your own life or someone else's.
Totally. And I didn't encounter God. God never, the whole point of my story is that God never said, come to me by doing all of this stuff or by, meet me over there or meet me up there. You know what I mean? Like that's the opposite of my story. God said, yo, you know what? You think meeting me up there is the thing, and it's really not. It has nothing to do with how soon or how fast or how well you can meet me up there. Yeah. Your relationship with me is about me meeting you there. So I'll be there in a sec. I'm going to let you like explore your humanity. I'm going to let you do it, and I'll be there. I'll be right there with you, and I'll meet you there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that way you can understand who you are and who I am. And that was really cool for me because it just injected total purpose into my life as a writer. Because I really feel like God's saying, there are so many people in the world who are just like you, who think that they need to come up here or come over there to meet me and know who I am. And they have a warped view of who I am, just like you did for 24 years of your life, And you didn't have an authentic relationship with me by meeting me over there. You had an authentic relationship with me by coming to terms with who you are as a human and being okay with your humanity and understanding that I make up for all of the places that you lack. Yeah. And I want you to go into the world, and I want you to write songs that put people in a room of their heart, in a human room of their heart, not a religious one, not a spiritual one, but like a human room of their heart that they don't normally go into. And I need you to do that by being willing to have no secrets, to sacrifice your privacy, sacrifice your pride, and tell them about those rooms in your heart. Because I guarantee you other people have those rooms in theirs that they're just not as willing to go into. So I need you to write music that puts them in those rooms. So at the end of the song, they open their eyes and they go, wait, how did I get here? And surprise, I'm going to be in that room with them. And then it's my job. You can't change anybody. You can't change anything. But I personally just have a passion in my heart for people to know who Jesus really is. Yeah. Not this like weird version of him that the whole world like has concocted, you know what I mean? Because I bought into the weird one for a really long time, and I was not a likable person.
Yeah.
I couldn't connect with I couldn't be normal. You know what I mean? I couldn't be a normal human, and we're all the same. Like, we laugh at the same things, we cry at the same things, like, you know, and it's just like, I don't know. So I that's really where my passion comes from, is I know who I am without him, and I know who I am with him. And it's just as imperfect, but it's purposeful. Absolutely. Me with him is purposeful, and it's passionate in a life-giving way, not in a air-sucking way. And it's truly me being myself and who I was created to be. And I don't know, I want everybody to feel that freedom. And I struggle. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but I've tasted it enough to know that I'm not who I was made to be when I'm not living in that, like thriving in that.
I think it's incredible, the dream and how that connected to this, because
you're like crazy
going out of your way, feeding yourself with all these things, and it's like, well, the minute your sister said, look up, that was when, I mean, I know you're saying now that you're not actually looking up to God, but when you look up and just wake up for a second, you'll realize, oh, he's actually right there with you in the wilderness of life that's like completely uncertain. And it's so powerful that happened in a dream, because that's crazy. So literal to your life.
It was super literal.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And this is the beauty of Jesus that I really found. I do all the things. I do a lot of things I probably did in that dark time.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. I love kissing boys. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but Emily Weisband loves making out with boys. And I love having a good time. Yeah. I love getting a little drunky some nights and just like whatever. And, you know, if there's some Christian weirdos watching this and you're pissed about that, I'm very sorry.
Don't watch the rest of it.
Don't watch the rest of this. But I will say this. I've learned Jesus is so an intent of the heart person. And there have been nights where I have gone out and made out with a dude and got a little drunky and came home and was like, woke up the next morning and thought, that was a great night. You know, I had a great time last night. There are other nights where I did the exact same thing and I woke up the next morning feeling like, ooh, why do I feel weird about that? There was no change in the action.
Yeah.
But when I sit there and think, okay, why did I do that? The first night that I felt great about, I went out that night because I was just trying to have a fun night with my friends. I was just living. I was being Emily. I was having like a good time with my friends. The other night I went out to get attention.
So it's the intention.
It's 100% the intention.
Yep.
You know, that night I woke up feeling weird. I felt weird because I went out that night to fill something in me.
Yeah, definitely.
To get attention, to make me feel good about myself. And it's not a condemnation thing. I don't wake up feeling condemned. I just wake up feeling like, hey, check yourself. Why'd you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not even about right or wrong. It's about being authentically who I am.
Absolutely.
While doing life with Jesus. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, being honest with myself about. And so it's just, I don't say that saying, you should go, blah, blah. I'm not saying that at all.
If that's not authentic to you.
No, if it's not authentic to you, do what's authentic to you. But I was just saying that was one way in my, after all this stuff, when it was just little things like that where God started teaching me, like, hey, this is what I'm about. You know what I mean? Hey, this is how I work. This is how I am. Like, the whole thing. So it was just like me learning myself and like really, you know, just being honest with myself about why I was doing the things I was doing, why I was saying the things I was saying, and, you know, just what being authentic really looked like. Yeah. You know?
So are there, like, any, I don't know, maybe practices, like mental, spiritual practices, anything like that you do, maybe gratitude, like, on a daily basis, that kind of helps you to overcome these, like, wrong intentions almost? And, like, putting yourself in a place where you are doing something for the wrong intentions. Does that make sense?
I mean, not really. I try to get in my Bible every day just because there is something. It's a perspective thing. It's not even like a religious thing. It's just like, I notice that on the days where I open myself up to that, my perspective's just a little, it just reminds me that even if it wasn't some big like moment or anything, it just reminds me like, okay, I'm part of something bigger. I'm part of something eternal. This is not like, no matter what happens to me today or what, it's not all on me.
Yep.
So it's a good reminder of that. I think just in the daily, I do my life with people who just are constantly reminding me of who I am.
I love that. Yeah.
That I just do, I've my sisters and my friends, and we just, we're just normal. I do life with people who, I surround myself with people who, just know me and authentically, truly, I'm fully known and fully loved by these people, And so, it keeps me on track. But I mean, it's just, it's so interesting because the whole Jesus thing, I used to be so, even Jesus was another thing I was told, it's like, I went through a time of like, you got it. If you love God, you got to love Jesus. Like, and even that, I was like, I'm just told to, like, why? Why does Jesus matter? Like, what? I just have to, in order to really believe in God, like, I got to believe in this Jesus guy. Like, okay, because you're telling me to. It's just like another rule I have to follow. Like, okay, cool. And even that, like, it's just so funny how, like, God's okay with who I am. Yeah. It's just so, he's like, he made me that way. He's just like, he's okay with it because he knows that, like, if I understand something, if something makes sense to me and I can connect dots about something, I will passionately like tell everybody about it. But if I'm just being told it, it'll kind of stop at me and it'll just be. So it's funny, like even things like that, like, he had to connect the dots for me with, he had to make the Jesus thing even make sense to me. And that was just through being surrounded by good people and getting in my Bible every day, even though there were some weeks where I was just like, oh, F this. Like, I'm not inspired by this at all. Like, oh my gosh, this is the last thing I want to do. It's so big and boring and weird. You know what I mean? Like, even on those days, it was like weird. But for me, the whole Jesus thing was just like, you don't relate to me at all. God. Like, I don't relate to God. I don't get God. I really don't. I'm not supposed to get God. Ways are higher and different. They just does not think. I don't think like God. I can't relate to him whatsoever. How he thinks about things, how he feels about things, I have no freaking clue. Like he's God. Like he's just a galactical God. You know what I mean? But I can relate to a human. And God really highlighted that to me. He's like, yeah, I know you can't relate to me. I know you don't get me. I'm saying you know me if you know Jesus because you can relate to Jesus. Like if you want to know how I feel something, how did Jesus feel about that? You want to know what I think about something? What did Jesus think about that? You know what I mean? How would I handle this? Look at how Jesus handled it. And it's just, for me, even that was like it was like a brain blast. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, I can buy this Jesus thing. I can passionately be about this Jesus thing now because I can't relate to God, but I can relate to Jesus because Jesus pooped and peed and was a human being, the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so it was like, I don't know. It's just like little thing. It's such a process. It's not like a moment of like, I'm gonna do this and this happened to me. Blah, 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 blah. It's just like, man, I'm messing up every day. I'm admitting that I messed up every day. I'm trying to work on myself. Like, I don't know, just practice and talk, practice and talk, practice and talk. It's not a do or don't do. It's just to live, be happy, be normal, be free, practice, search myself, be okay with like, whoops.
Yeah. Well, I think something you shared that's really cool is that you really look to other people for like I guess to figure out who you're at. Well, I'm trying to say this in a good way. You look to other people kind of as those things that help you overcome. Whereas like, I think a lot of people just talk about looking within themselves and doing like gratitude practices every day and stuff like that. Like they have these formulas that they use every single day. But for you, it's literally just being surrounded by people who care about you. And if you did more of that and stopped doing like the thing that makes us actually more alone, I wonder if we would be even more authentic and more okay with ourselves.
Yeah, I think we're, especially now with, I love social media. I love it. I love it. I think it's so fun. I'm on it all the time. But there is an intimacy issue with our generation.
Yep.
You know, there is 100%. You know what I mean? And it all falls on us. Like in our brains, it's like, oh, well, you know, I gotta be more this or be more that, and that's on me. And And it's just like, I think that no, I don't do any kind of like daily. I don't talk to myself in the mirror and like, Emily, you are cool. Like, no, I don't do that. That's stupid to me. Yeah. I'm sorry if you do that. So many people it's do good it, for you. No, I don't. I just think that I'm very self-aware. I try to search myself and locate my feelings and you know, I do try to do those things. But I really only do that so that I can connect with other people on those things. Because I just, you know, I don't know, we weren't made to be alone. We were made to connect. We were made to whatever. And we were made in God's image, and I think God wants to connect. And God made us so that he wasn't like just by himself. Yep. That's you know? True, yeah. He like made us so that he could hang out and love us. And like, you know, we could love him back. And like, we're that way. We crave that because he's that way. Yep. You know what I mean? So, I just think that we all think we're the only one who deals with X, and we all think we're the only one who ever feels Y. And I feel very called to be very in touch with my X and my Y and willing to share my X and my Y. Yeah. Because I think that's what, the second you connect with somebody on something they feel alone about, I mean, that changes everything. It just opens up a whole new door for them to connect with other people.
It gives them hope. Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, I think God's in those moments. Like I don't know why we separate God and sex. Yeah. I did for so long. I don't know why we do that. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I really like sex. So I really want to have sex. So like, you know, God, okay, like, hold on, God. And God's like, yeah, I know. I made you want that. Like, why are you always like being weird about it? Quit being weird. Right. You know what I mean? And it's just like so funny, like how common sense and normal God actually is. Like, you know what I mean? It's like he's the most approachable person ever. 100%. And we're literally like, oh no, we're just weird. We're like Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands around God all the time. And it's like, y'all are crazy. Y'all gotta chill. I just literally feel God going up there, like being up there, like, y'all gotta calm down. You're so extra. Quit being extra. Seriously. Like, wow. Calm down for a second. Yep. So it's just funny. Like I don't know. I'm happy with who I am. I like myself. Yep. And I have the freedom to like myself, I feel like, because I don't feel this need to be anything anymore.
So would you say that's who Emily Weisband is now? Free?
Emily Weisband is very free. She's a lot of things though, and she's okay with being a lot of things. You know? Like I used to say, I'm the blah, blah, blah girl. I'm the da-da-da girl. Yeah. No, I'm the blah, blah, blah girl, and I'm the blah, blah, blah girl. Parts. My therapist told me something. I feel like I've told you this before. I'm going to like say it on camera. Please y'all, this is $100 information. You're welcome.
All right, let's hear it.
My therapist said, Emily, you are my therapist didn't like me very much. She stopped meeting with me because I talked myself into I did her job for her. Like I would therapize myself. I would talk and be like, oh wait, so that means that I struggle with blah 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 blah. And then she's just sitting there like, I was supposed to tell you that. And so she stopped seeing me. But anyway, she stopped seeing you. Yeah, she said, sorry, Lindsay, if you ever see this, but
you don't need me.
Well, she's just like, you won't let me talk, so I don't know why you're paying me. No, she said, Emily, you are a lot of things, and you need to be okay with it. She said, I need you to think of Emily Weisband and imagine a conference table.
Ah, that's what you did say.
And sitting at this table is spiritual Emily, and sexual Emily, and creative Emily, and serious Emily, sarcastic Emily, sensitive Emily, funny Emily. Like all of these Emilys are sitting at this party Emily, chill like they're all sitting at this table. She was like, in every conversation, every circumstance, every situation, you get to decide who heads the meeting. And bringing out one of those Emilys to connect with somebody doesn't make the others inauthentic. Yeah. And it just made me really okay with who I am, you know, and it made me relax a lot. Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm a lot of things, but first and foremost, I am free to be all of those things, and God made me all of those things, and I'm very loved in that state. I'm very chosen, like in that state, as are we all. Yep. And yeah, it's just like, we gotta stop being extra, guys. We gotta stop being extra. Yeah. But true. Be extra, but stop being extra.
Being extra would be, I think, multi-faceted. So you are extra.
Oh, I'm extra when I feel like being extra. When I don't feel like being extra anymore, I'm just not extra. But I'm just saying, I'm not like, my panties aren't in a wad about like, oh no, does God still like me? Like, is he still going to use me for stuff, you know? And that was when Thy Will like really played into that. I told you about all that. Yep. During this dark time, this dark year where I'm like ruthlessly like
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I was still working, you know, I was going into work every day and writing songs, and I went in and we wrote this song called Thy Will, and this girl, Hillary Scott, put it out. And I just remember her coming in and sharing her heart and saying, yeah, like, you know, my husband and I went through this miscarriage and I just didn't understand it. This has been my prayer to God, like, Thy will be done. I don't know what else to say when I talk to him, because I just don't understand why he allowed this to happen. And I just remember thinking, I know a lot about God. I grew up playing Bible trivia, so like, yeah, I can help you write this song, like whatever. And I just remember writing it and being like, I don't give a crap about God, but like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I just remember I probably went and did some weird crap that night. You know what I mean? It just was not like a, wow, yes, Jesus, yeah. It was not that. And the song ends up getting on the radio and going #1, and we ended up winning a Grammy for it. And I remember standing on that Grammy stage 9 months after that day that we wrote it. I remember my hair was up, and not at the Grammys, on this day of writing it. I was in this t-shirt. I'd gained like 10 pounds because I was drinking so much, and like my hair was up, and I just like didn't give a crap about anybody or anything. And I remember my hair all done up in this like gown or whatever, standing on this stage. They just called our name to win a Grammy. And I just remember God saying, do you remember that day that you wrote this song? Like, you didn't love me that day. It's okay though. You know what I mean? Like, I loved you. And it was in that moment where I felt God say, this is big. Look around. Like, and you did not do this. I did this. Because you remember
through your brokenness.
Yeah. You remember how small you were that day? And not in a taunting way, in a loving way, in a, I'm big. And you don't have anything that I need. Yep. There's nothing, I've picked you. I've chosen you. Exactly. And I want to do things with you, and you're either along for the ride or you're not. But I make big things happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I love you. I pick you. I choose you. And it was just this moment for me where it was a chill pill for me for sure. Because I thought, wow, okay, life's going to happen.
Took a moment where you were super broken, didn't even care about God.
Yeah, I didn't even care. And he made it huge. And he knew that was going to happen that day. You know what I mean?
That's so powerful.
Like he did.
Yeah.
He knew that in 8 months we'd be winning a Grammy for what we were doing that day, and I didn't give a shit about him. Yep. You know, and he was just like, okay, it's fine. Yep. I don't need you to love me for me to love you back. You know, and so it was cool. It was, even in that moment, it injected purpose into my career, because it was like, you know, I'm gonna write Christian songs, I'm gonna write pop songs, I'm gonna write country songs. But nothing that ever happens with any of them is because of me. Like, I'm a chosen person. Yeah. I'm a loved person. And anything that happens, anything valuable about my life comes out of that fact. Not the fact that I did or said anything, or I go to bars or I don't go to bars, or I hook up with people or I don't hook up with people. It's that I'm loved and I am chosen.
Yep.
And there's a direct, open line of communication that is offered to me with God that I can either accept or reject. But it doesn't, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just like, it was very defining.
Was there ever like a person or a story that you read about that actually had like a similar story to yours and that connected with you? Or was there anything, something you read, a quote, anything like that just kind of defined who you felt like you were and kind of the reckoning through that?
Did I tell you about something and that's why you're asking me this?
No.
You're not. You're just asking me right now. Okay, cool. Like,
if not, no worries.
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I'm not like a book person. I'm not like I don't know. I just relate to people around me. Like, my friends went through this. It looked different for all of us. But my best friend Mackenzie went through the same identity crisis that I did. It just looked completely different from mine. You know what I mean? It just manifested itself differently. And I think that goes back to the heart thing. Like, everybody goes through this. Yeah. Everybody has an identity crisis of some sort.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know. I think more than a book or, you know, a story, or I think it's just doing life with people and meeting other people who, wow, like I went through that too, except it looked like this. Oh, wow, yeah, that I had to figure that out too, but for me it looked like this. You know what I mean? And I just think that, I don't know, that's really kind of where I don't know. I just think it just looks different for everybody, but at the heart of what we all have to learn and deal with, I mean, it's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say like just connecting with the people around me and
that's huge. Being
being willing to share, you know, my whole deal with other people and listening to theirs and being like, wow, I'm not that much different from the rest of the world.
Not alone.
You know? So yeah, I'd definitely say it was that.
Cool. Last question.
Okay.
Where can people find you on social media?
Oh my God. I'm a great follow. I just got to say.
Your Instagram's pretty fun.
I'm just kidding.
It's pretty good.
I'm an Instagram girl. I love the gram. It's just Weisband, Weisband. And yeah, I like to make faces and
be funny. Yeah.
I like to, you know, broadcast my friends' love lives since I don't really have one at the moment. And
you gotta broadcast somebody else's.
I know, right? Like, my friends who are secretive, I'm like, why are you secretive? That's weird because I'm not that way. And so I just go, yeah, but yeah, that's the deal.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing
Thank
everything.
you for having
and seriously,
me.
like the fact that you just have no shame through all this is like so cool because I don't know. I mean, I've told you before, but like for me, I have a lot of shame going through the things that I have, and just like hearing someone else speak so unapologetically about what they've been through has really helped me to be like, okay, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And I think for anybody else listening, it's probably a similar thing too. Is like just unapologetically be yourself because your brokenness is going to lead to something incredible.
Yeah. We all have the same. We all do it. We're not.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So don't be extra. Chill out.
Don't be extra.
Don't be extra.
Yep.
Just be cool.
That's true. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening to the What's Your Life Journey podcast. If you want any more content like this, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which the link for that is in the description. And you can also join my Patreon community for exclusive, inspiring content. That is patreon.com/whatsyourlifejourney, or that link will also be in the description as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you.